people who just, don't understand why you want to do this. And sometimes people think you're mad to continue producing with old equipment in an old way. But I think people are beginning to realize that what we've done is hold on to an indigenous craft and develop it and make it look interesting. And by keeping these skills alive, you keep a whole range of things that you can do alive. I am Tristan Donaghy. I run a small woolen mill called Studio Donegal in Kilcar, County Donegal, where all our tweeds are handmade. The technical definition of tweed is a rough, homespun woolen cloth made on the western seaboard of Ireland and Scotland. Studio Donegal was started with a belief in maintaining, as I say, a traditional craft, but it was about reinventing the craft and introducing design into it, rather than just producing meters and meters of cloth, and use a traditional craft or a traditional skill, but produce something modern and contemporary. One of the fascinating things about working in the woolen industry is you can never know it all. You are constantly learning and even today, I'm still learning. It's not something that has to meet an exact science. And so there's a lot of room for personal expression in what you're doing. My father, he started Studio Donegal with my mother Wendy. They are still involved in a small way. As I say, I started helping them. It's now the other way around. They help me. I didn't really want to go to third level. I went and worked for a local building company and became a plasterer. I very quickly realized that my father needed help with the business, and I started to help him on a casual basis, but found it absolutely fascinating and became more and more involved. And I've been working in the business now for 22 years, and I have to say that I enjoy every day of it. It's my stated aim to make Studio Donegal the brand or the hallmark, if you like, of Irish hand-woven tweed. Producing tweed is about using local indigenous material to make clothing for ourselves. The challenge in the woolen industry is to produce a standard product from a constantly variable raw material. So it's not just a case of coming in, switching the machine on and watching it just do what it does and something come out the other end. You're having to adjust, you're having to work with the weather, the humidity, a whole lot of different things will change how the wool reacts. We have a small old woolen mule with 100 spindles which pull the fibres into the direction of the axis of the yarn, which will make a strong yarn. So the warps then will be made by setting up the pattern we want on the creel, and they'll be wound on in the order in which we want them. The weavers then will set up the loom, knotting in the new beam, and then they will wind the weft and they'll start weaving the pattern that has been decided. It must be hand woven here on a hand loom to have the Studio Donegal brand. After weaving, the cloth then comes out. If it's going into clothing, then the next process is to go up to the garment making, where it'll be marked out with a pattern, and then it'll be put on one of the sewing machines where it'll be made into a garment, and then it'll be pressed, finished, ready for sale. I think what makes us unique is we are determined to continue to hand weave, but also we've developed our own colours and our own ideas. So it's constantly interesting, constantly challenging and constantly exciting. I don't make any big living. But then it's not about the living, it's about the quality of life, it's about living somewhere I love, it's about doing something I love, and as long as I can put bread on the table at the end of the week, I'm happy.
My father always encouraged me to be in construction. You know, he was a contractor himself, and I was out in building sites with him as a child. So I learned a lot from him when I was young. And a 2-year course came up in the Irish College, so I just applied for it. I never thought of going down that line at the time, but I just got into it and loved it. He's very proud of me now, what I can do and what I've done, you know. I am Paul Cunningham. I'm from Glencullen. I trade as Fadge Stoneworks, where all my stone products are handmade and hand cut. The course I done was a good course. We covered a lot of it, dry stone walling to masonry to stone carving and letter cutting, you know. We've done a lot of art and photography and other subjects as well to help run a business. There's more to it than just going out and building every day. There's a lot of other things going on in the stone world. You're constantly teaching yourself, even to this day, you know. Like I say, I trained for 2 years, but I've been learning 22. But yeah, I do love it. We run a lot of workshops now in the Tyrconnell Stone Festival. We have a weekend here in June, which I involve in organising an instructor on it. It's great fun, a great weekend. We're down in Leitrim doing workshops, training carving. So each trainee that went there to work, it was a cross-border thing as well, had to carve a stone for an unmarked grave in this old church and just laid on the grave. The reason why I have mine here is because when I was putting my mark in the back of the stone when it was finished, the stone cracked, so it couldn't be used, so I got to take it home with me. So it just in my father's shed for years and years, and when I was building the house I decided to put it in as a memory of my first carving. I carved a Celtic cross for my father-in-law. I kind of took from another design I seen on carved in the stone, and I enhanced it with some Celtic knots, you know, going down into a wide body for the writing. You always have a picture in your head before you start. It took a whole day to draw that out on paper first, because using a lot of geometry and making it work to a size, so you're working on a blank page and rubbing it out a few times to get it perfect, because it has to be perfect before it goes in the stone. So once you cut it with a chisel, there's no rubbing out lines. You just have to be very patient on detail, working back to lines, you know. If you're cutting a line, you don't cut the line straight away. You work back to that line and finish to it, so you're always taking off small layers when you're carving or letter cutting, you know. But there's ways you can cut things out if you do to get chip off, you know. It does happen. It's Michael McGroty's idea to do a stone map. He's from Mount Charles. So from that we developed how to do it and designed it and came up with a concept and an idea of getting stonemasons from all over Ireland to use local stone from each county and put their own story onto it. Every county depicts a story with what's carved on it, something to do with that county or with Ireland. It's to show the geology of Ireland and to tell the story of Ireland as well, you see. So, like, say for Donegal, I carved Donegal. Donegal's carved out of Mount Charles sandstone, which is a very nice sandstone to carve. Every stonemason has their own way style in doing things. They're all similar in ways because the technique is the same, has to be the same for structure, you know. I like my work to stand out a bit, you know, but I still like it to be traditional. I do headstones, I do name plaques, small pieces, just for a hobby more than anything, some of them, you know. But yeah, you're using very fine tools. The fireplace behind me there, it's built with a local stone called schist. It's stone you see in all the dry stone walls around here, you know. I think it's the nicest stone you can work with. It's very natural looking, it's not square and blocky, you know. The coin stones are blue sandstone from down the country, down about Galway somewhere, I think. You don't always have fireplaces to build inside when you want them, so that's why I do stone carving as well. So I always have a piece or two to do. Every stone carving messes up. It's just it's how you manipulate it and hide it, no one notices, you know. You get to know how stone cuts, different stone cuts in different ways. You get to know how to work it, so you're not going to damage it. You know if a stone has a flaw, if you can see it before you start cutting. Why you wouldn't cut that end, you cut the other end. You know, there's a lot of telltale signs on stone before you start, but it does happen where a stone can just bust and break, and it's not very nice.
I've always wanted to do craft design, but what area, I wasn't quite sure. So I went to do a foundation course in Limavady, and there I got chatting to a technician who just finished a glass design, and I was like, that's different, let's go for that.
Elaine, my older sister, was already doing glass design in NCAD, and I went down to have my interview, and the glass tutor was doing my interview, and so was the silversmith, but he was a wee bit boring. She was a wee bit more feisty and fun, and she persuaded me to do glass. So since then, I've been a glass designer.
I actually couldn't see myself doing any other job. I get to work with my two sisters. We all do different things in the business, and then in the end, it kind of all just comes together.
I am Elaine McGonagle. I work with my sisters in McGonagle Glass Studio in the Donegal Craft Village, where all our jewellery, wall art and fused glass plates are handmade. We set up the business in 2003, myself and Lindsay. Zara joined us about 3 years ago then. The Craft Village is a great setup to help. We help each other, and also it's great for tourism. It gets so busy here during summer, so people come to us to buy things instead of us going to people doing craft fairs and everything. So it's great place, yeah, to work. Donegal Craft is really good at the moment. So it has. It always has been, so it has, but it's growing. The process that I use is fusing. So a lot of fusing is 2 sheets of glass melted together in the kiln. So I do a lot of the kiln work. I trap a lot of pieces inside glass. I use a lot of gold leaf, copper, and then other bits of glass to create the designs between the glass. A small percentage of our work would crack and break in the kiln. It's pretty frustrating, but over the years we've got completely used to it, and it's just one of those things, and you just carry on and just make it again.
We never did bead making in college, but it was self-taught once we opened up this studio. It was easy enough to pick up. You need a lot of patience, and I have loads of patience. I think I've got the most patience out of us all, so I'm happy enough sitting on the bead maker.
If we make anything new that's really pretty and we're like, oh, people haven't seen that before, it's my job. I'll go and photograph it, put it up all over social media, try and go, hi, this is new, look at this. So it is a lot of learning on the job. None of us have marketing degrees, so it's kind of just, if we see something that works, we'll just go with it. It's a lot of asking other businesses, a lot of seeing what works for them, a lot of researching every day. And Elaine has taken me on board now, so I do a lot of fusing in the kilns too. So, yeah.
My family are, they're a great inspiration, and but at the beginning they weren't. They tried to put me down the way of pharmacy or a doctor, but no, they knew what I wanted to do, and they're happy that I followed my heart and are doing glass design at the moment. Working with my sisters is great. I love it. We can talk about anything. We work so well together. We can tell each other the truth. Everyone does say that it's unique, or they're like, it'll never work. At the beginning it was like, you'll never work. You've got your sisters. It won't work. I'll prove them wrong. Every time I make something, I don't know what it's going to turn out like in the kiln. It's a surprise every morning I come in. It could be broken, and it could be lovely, or it could be really different, but that's a glass is special to me.
It's nice just milling away here in the studio with the three of us, and it's good fun. We have great fun in here, working together. You can do so much more with glass. People have learned, oh, that different properties of glass. You're like, oh, you can mix that with glass. So we're still experimenting. We're always experimenting, and sometimes things work out. A lot of times things don't work out, but it's fun whenever they do work out. So we enjoy that.
So every day there's something different. You get customers coming in asking for certain things to be made up, and then you're working with them trying to like make something pretty that they're going to keep in their house, and I like that. I like knowing that everything's going off to where it should be, and yeah, it's great to work here. Yeah.
Hey, just before you go, if you want more relaxing stuff, you might know that I wrote a book, 7 Habits of Calm and Happy People, and now I even made an audiobook version. It's the best habits that work for me for being more calm, more at peace, and I think you're gonna like it too. So you can find it for free as a gift at findcalm.com/book. Findcalm.com/book. Check it out.